is Tuesday, May 17th at about 10:10 in the morning, and I've come back to the Camden East Alvar to check out the flowering plants. This should be a great time to see some of the earlier flowering plants on the Alvar. I was here about a month ago or so, and it was just prior to most of the plants coming into flower, so today should be a treat, hopefully. And I just wanted to see those and see what state they're in. Right now it's a cloudy day and about 14 degrees. We had heavy rains yesterday afternoon with the cold front coming in, thunderstorms, and it's much cooler today, obviously. We were up in the 28-degree range for the last week and a half, but it feels nice and refreshing, so it's a pleasant time to be out here. The red cedars along the trail here are infected with the cedar apple rust, which is this orange mass that's growing on the end of the branches on a lot of the trees here. These are a fungal spore producing organ here that spreads spores out across the landscape and then can infect apple trees. And the cycle requires the two hosts, the red cedar or common juniper, as well as the apple trees. And this can just be mainly disfiguring to trees, and I think possibly cause some serious injury or maybe even death among certain trees if they're heavily infected, both cedar and apple. It's a strange looking thing, and you see it most often after rains like we had yesterday. These things just sort of come out of nowhere, it seems, and just produce these strange looking structures. Of course, being mid-May, we're also going to see lots of lilac in bloom around the country roads in the area. Lilac, Cyrenga vulgaris, here is a non-native species. It's an alien tree or shrub, and it's gained footholds largely along the roadsides of these rural areas where it can survive quite well on shallow soiled limestone based bedrock. And so on Alvars it has really expanded and dominates a lot of the trail sides here, as you can see. It also has extended itself into the more traditional Alvar sections as well. I haven't really read as much about it as some of the other invasives as far as causing serious damage, but I can certainly see here, being fairly new to this section that I'm walking through, you can see it's dominating a lot of the area, so it is taking up space that would otherwise have been taken up by native plants. Here's a characteristic Alvar plant that blooms early in the spring. This is called prairie smoke or Geum triflorum. A little later on, the flower heads have long plumes that come out of them, making the appearance of the group look very smoky from a distance, a light pinkish color, very pretty. It's not fully out just yet, but they have nice finely cut leaves and these purpley red flower heads. The sky is getting a real northern Ontario look to it. I almost feel like I'm walking up around Sudbury or somewhere. Just that cold leaden sky. You can certainly see as you walk through here how invasive the lilac actually is. It's virtually covering probably 50% or more of the ground cover alongside the trail here, and also inside the fence line quite a ways as well. To the north, it's almost entirely covering that area, whereas down here it's more red cedar dominated. But it's almost like walking through the perfume department in a store, with all the smell of this lilac all along the trail. It's just constant. Of course, it's not nearly as annoying as most perfumes tend to be, where they simply overpower you almost to the point where you're sick. These are a nice, gentle smell for the most part. Boy, it's amazing how that temperature just swung from 28, 30 degrees centigrade now down to 14. I'm feeling like I'm back in the early spring or fall again, especially with this leaden sky above me. Strange how everything can flip-flop so fast. Unfortunately, I've missed the main blooming of the early saxifrage. Obviously, I have been seeing and showing that species on some of my earlier videos in different places lately. But here you get big mats of it occurring on the shallow soils, so it becomes quite a neat thing to see with the masses of it in bloom. Most of the ones I've seen today are already past bloom, I guess because of that extreme heat we had for the last week and a half, so it got burned out a little earlier than I had hoped. I've seen a few plants still with some flowers, so I'll get some pictures of those, and maybe if we're lucky I'll find a little group somewhere that's still in bloom. But the bigger areas of it that I've seen so far have been fairly burnt out by the sun. 55 minutes in and 2.7 kilometers walked, heading west along the Love Road track here, almost at the end. We'll turn around up here and head back to where the two roads cross, and then determine where we're going from there. What a beautiful smell. We're now on the Nature Conservancy property, and you can see things are pretty flooded from the rain yesterday, but I was smart enough to bring boots this time. Otherwise you've got wet feet. You can see the shallow nature of the soils in a lot of areas here. Here's Zoe posing with some nice prairie smoke. Well, it's 12:20 and we've been walking for about 2 hours and 14 minutes. And we've done 6.4 kilometers, so I think we'll head back to the car now. Just wanted to really see how the plants were over here. Some of them are in nice shape and others are a little bit beyond their prime, such as the early saxifrage. And then others still have to come into maturity completely. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this outing. We're going to sign off for now and head back home. Thanks for joining.